Hello viewers, today I'm going to show you how to make these simple drawers light up when you open them. Okay, to start this project you're going to need LED strips. Now I picked this roll up for $6 on the Geek website. They come in all sorts of colors. This roll is 5 meters long and has 300 LEDs. I'm going to be using blue for this one. Next up we have wire. You're probably going to need quite a bit. To tell the lights to turn on when the drawer is open, we will be using these momentary switches that when pressed, the circuit is open. To do all the cutting of the wires, as you guessed, we'll be using a wire cutter. To power these LEDs, we will be using a plug that converts 120 volts to 12 volts. This plug you can find in standard household appliances. To save time, I already cut the ends off of the other side. Now these wires are usually marked. The striped side is the positive and the other side is the negative. The next tool we'll be using is our hot glue gun. This will help keep the wires and LEDs in place. Now I'm going to be taking the speaker input jacks from this old plate amplifier I had laying around. This will keep the connections looking nice. Okay, we're going to start by popping the top off of the unit. This usually gets easier every time you do it. Now that the top is off, we can get to work. Start by measuring out and cutting the LEDs to the length you want. Keep in mind that if you want the LEDs to light up your contents of your drawers, then you should have it on the front side of the container lid. When you have the length of LED desired, then cut off and strip one of the ends. Now it's time to start soldering. The LEDs come with a wire that's pre-installed. It's a shorter length, so I'm going to cut it off and add my own wire. Okay, now before you get all solder happy, make sure you can tell which lead is positive and which lead is negative. These are indicated on the strip marked +12. Now since my LEDs came waterproof, they have a rubber protective coating on them. You can use an X-Acto knife to cut off the rubber coating and expose the leads. Okay, here's where the soldering comes in. Grab a Q-tip, grab your flux, and make sure it's nice and fluxed up. Make sure to flux the end of those leads really good. Now you're going to grab your solder. I have ultra thin solder, so I'm going to be using quite a bit. Now you're going to add a little dab of solder to each lead, just a little dot. If this is what the leads look like when you're done, you're doing it right. Now we are going to use the wire that we cut earlier. Solder the wire to the LED leads. Keep in mind which side is positive. Now, with our LED strips cut, soldered, and ready to go, it's time to start wiring up that container. Before we start working on the container, I'm putting up this diagram I made to show the blueprint of the build. I'll leave it up for a few seconds so you can pause the video to look at it. Okay, now it's time to start hot gluing the LED strips to the bend. You should also hot glue the wire so that it does not get in the way of the drawer sliding in and out. Also, make sure you hot glue on a stable surface so your project doesn't end up in your lap. Here we have our wire and LED strip hot glued in place. The wire will be going into the back leg of the storage bin. Let's take a break from the LEDs and wires for a second. We'll repeat the process in a bit. We're going to start working on the momentary switch. Push the drawer all the way in and then place a switch. Mark it. The button should be pressed in when the drawer is closed. Now with the button marked, it's time to secure it in place. Add hot glue to the mark and place the button. When it has dried, add some more glue on top to secure it. With the drawer hitting it often, it's best to make sure that the button won't go anywhere. Now let's put that drill to work. Grab a bit that's the same size as your wire, and drill a hole in the leg of the unit to run all your wires and connections. By doing this, there won't be any messy wires to see. Now you're going to take the wire for the LED and fish it through the hole that you just drilled. Okay, here I've done the middle layer to show you that this really is a redundant task. Here I've drilled a hole for the wires from the switch to go through. I hot glued the wires so that they stay free of any moving parts. I cut the positive lead from each of the LEDs and spliced the switch to the wire. You'll repeat this process for each layer. Now that all the LEDs, wires, and buttons are secured in place, there's not much left to do except for connecting it all together. I have already installed the speaker input so that I can easily unplug wires for necessary troubleshooting. Let's plug in the cord. And look at that, we have light when we open the drawer. If you have ideas for a future project, comment or message me, and I'll get around to build it.